You are looking at the sign for East Courthouse Square here in Cumming, Georgia. Cumming, Georgia is in Forsyth County, and that is the Forsyth County Courthouse. And this is the Courthouse Square. Right there is a monument to the person that this county is named after, Mr. Forsyth, John Forsyth. This is their sheriff's office / courthouse annex. And here is a marker commemorating whom this county is named after, Forsyth County. Forsyth was created on 1832 from Cherokee County. And if you're familiar with my channel, Dirty South History, we've talked about how the Georgia legislature ran off the Cherokees from North Georgia. Get an opportunity, read that one. Look at that video. Over here is another marker, a marker for the person that this city is named after, Colonel William Cummings. And tells you about the town being incorporated, yada, yada, yada. Look, I'm not here to talk about these guys, okay? This is their county, this is their courthouse, but I'm not here to talk about that. Here's another marker honoring the veterans, thank you for your service. And another one talking about the cornerstone from the courthouse that was sitting on this land that was burnt down in '73. But I want to talk about this marker. You see, people are honking, trying to make me change what I'm about to tell you, but I'm not. This is dealing with a lynching in this county in September of 1912. Now, I'm going to keep it here for a second, and actually I'm going to increase it so that you guys can have an opportunity to pause the tape and read it for yourself. But basically, this lynching happened in 1912 after the unfortunate death of a young white woman, teenager. She was brutally beaten and most likely sexually assaulted, and she ended up dying. Her name was May Crow. And in 1912 Georgia, you know how it goes. They rounded up some Negroes, arrested 4 of them, one of them was a woman, and locked them up, okay, for this young lady's death. Now, before they had a trial, a mob gathered at the jail and took one of them, the guy whose nickname was Big Rob. Smashed his head in with crowbars, took him out of the jail, shot him, beat him, killed him, and hung his body up in this town square as a reminder to the other blacks who lived here that mob justice prevails over everything. Okay? So that's a sad situation, a terrible lynching. But before this, a couple of weeks before, they had another incident involving another white woman who claimed that she woke up one morning and found a quote-unquote a Negro in her bed. Right? Now, the black community was suspicious of this. And one of their leaders, Mr. Grant Smith, was like, a Negro just having to wake up you just having to wake up with a Negro next to you in the bed, that sounds consensual to me. Right? And he made that outcry right here on these grounds. Now, Mr. Grant Smith was a well-known preacher in this community, minister of the gospel. And they beat that man within an inch of his life, right here on these courthouse grounds. I think they said it was on the courthouse steps. Justice and mercy be damned, right? So this was a couple of weeks before Miss Crow met her demise. Okay, so this community, the white people in this community, were outraged. We've got to do something about these Negroes, you know? And they did something about it. And even though the name of this channel is Dirty South History, we're gonna talk about a cleansing. Good old racial cleansing, right? See, because in 1912, this land was a popular, well, a prosperous area for a lot of black people. This community, this county was about 10% black in 1912, and a lot of those black people were doing quite well for themselves. Thank you very much. And some of their neighbors did not like that. And they took the opportunity to, quote unquote, protect white womanhood by running all the Negroes out of this county. Every last one of them. They did that old school shit that you see on these vigilante westerns. They gave them 24 hours. Round up what you can and go. And then they started beating and burning, because arson was one of their top tools to get the job done. And yeah, those people did. They were removed from this county forcibly. People who own land, either they were forced to sell it or they had to leave it as is. So this was a majority white county from that point. Actually, I said majority. This was a white county from that point up until the 1990s. All right? And this thing is kind of personal to me, because when I was in college at the University of Georgia, we had a march in 1987, right? And believe it or not, as late as the late 20th century, there was opposition to people wanting to integrate a whole county. So I marched, and I'm about as far as I am from that marker that you see, from a man in full Klan regalia. What a time to be alive. In any event, in 2024, this county now is a lot more integrated. They have 4% black population. That's not much, but that's not nothing. And I have to give credit to Forsyth County for at least marking the terrible thing that happened here, because a lot of communities refuse to acknowledge